Robyn never received any of the money. When we bought our houses, Robyn's kickback from the house went to other family members.
Why does everyone think you're in charge of the finances? I mean, everyone...
Yeah, no, this is something I began to realize because Cody was always telling everybody that I was somehow calling the shots on the money.
After years of quiet doubts, unspoken tension, and watching her hard-earned money disappear into a family pot she no longer believes in, Janelle Brown has finally reached her breaking point. No more pretending. In a bold move shaking the sister wives world, her lawyer is now calling for a full financial audit of the Brown family's shared accounts.
Cody and Robyn kept telling her that Janelle was in charge of the finances.
Janelle was saying, no, I haven't been in charge of the finances. And Cody and Robyn have said, yeah, she has been. And I'm just like, anyway, it's a lot of pointing fingers.
All eyes are now locked on Robyn Brown, the wife fans suspect most, and insiders say is struggling to answer one burning question: where did all the money go? But this isn't some minor dispute over receipts. It's the collapse of years of buried tension, unraveling promises, and a vision of plural marriage crumbling in real time, across courtrooms and confessionals. And with Coyote Pass still chaining them all together, what once felt like a family dream is quickly turning into a battlefield of broken trust.
She had too much influence on our money, and in the end, we're just getting us straightened out at the end.
We're left with a blunt truth: denial and missing money. The painful twist? It was never meant to spiral like this. Janelle, the steady one, the quiet force behind the scenes, spent years holding things together. She balanced the books, tracked the spending, and let Cody play the role of provider, never stirring the pot. But now she's facing something she tried not to see: large sums drained from their shared account with no clue where it went. She's done brushing it off, done letting Cody rewrite the story. Because when Janelle's lawyer arrived with papers in hand, this stopped being a family rift. It became a reckoning, and from that moment on, nothing was the same.
For them to think that I wasn't going to be fair.
Well, it feels like there was some distrust there, that you weren't going to be fair.
Because Janelle and Mary are both leaving me going...
Cody used to wave off Janelle's worries with vague talk about providing for 18 kids. But now, those excuses are wearing thin, and Robyn, who once claimed she never touched the finances, is suddenly feeling the heat. Because if this audit turns up even one questionable payment, one expense that padded Robyn's home while the others went without, it could all unravel fast. And fans, they're already connecting the dots. The timing, the silence, the sidestepping, none of it adds up. It's wild to think that the very system Janelle's now questioning was once the heart of their plural marriage dream. In the early Sister Wives days, Cody and the women praised their shared life: one home and spirit, one joint bank account, groceries, mortgages, school fees, even vacations. They called it our money. But now, that phrase feels empty. Because somewhere along the line, Robyn stopped looking like a sister wife and started looking like the only wife.
He's like, I saw where all the money was going, and how much money Cody took and how much money Robyn took was a lot more than you were taking.
For Janelle, the unraveling wasn't sudden. It crept in, slow and quiet. First came the whispered decisions, then the discreet withdrawals, and eventually a full-blown wall of secrecy that left her locked out of the very system she helped create. She once confided in Christine. Back then there was structure. Everyone had a voice. They debated bills, set priorities, made sure every household had what it needed. It was messy, but it was fair. That balance didn't just vanish, it was stripped away, bit by bit. And in Janelle's words, the one pulling the strings was Cody. He would just take out funds, she said plainly, and I don't know what for. That single sentence landed like a gut punch across the fandom. This wasn't about an extra grocery run or a missing receipt. This was thousands of dollars, gone without a trace, and without a word.
We didn't know, we never knew what the other wives were getting money-wise. We just understood what we had, but Janelle saw it all. And Janelle doesn't say much, and she's very tight-lipped.
And Janelle was supposed to be the one keeping the books, but in truth, she had no voice and no real answers. And here's the part that cuts deepest. She trusted the system. She truly believed it would all even out, that the family would take care of each other in the end. But now, with a lawyer just a call away and hindsight sharp as ever, she sees it clearly. It wasn't a system built for fairness. It was a setup that handed Cody all the power and gave the rest just enough involvement to feel like they mattered, until it was too late. "I was just too trusting," she told the cameras. And what was taken wasn't just money. It was her faith, her sense of stability, and the illusion that they were all in this together. And if Janelle's starting to question everything, Robyn's part in this may be far more tangled than anyone ever realized.
He was like, oh, okay. Because I think that he thought that I was keeping money from him or from the family. I'm like, no, let me show you what I have contributed.
If you ask Cody, and he'll tell you this is all just one big misunderstanding. In his story, Janelle was the one writing the checks, balancing the books, holding the purse strings. He paints himself as the overworked father of 18, just trying to survive the chaos while Janelle kept the numbers in line. And for years, that version held up, at least on the surface. But now, with lawyers closing in and the fog finally lifting, Janelle isn't just pushing back, she's pulling back the curtain. That whole Janelle ran the money line, she calls it what it is, a deflection. "He loves this idea that I had all the power," she said, visibly done with the charade. "But really, I just logged the transactions and sent them to the CPA. That's it. No approval, no authority, just a glorified record keeper." Meanwhile, Cody was allegedly making the calls, moving the money, never consulting the very women who were funding it all. And this is where it gets murky. Because if Janelle didn't know what Cody was spending on, and Mary didn't either, then someone had to. And now, all eyes are turning to Robyn.
I was leaving Cody, and there was no way I wanted to be tied to him in any way, shape, or form, and I did not like to deal with him at all on anything, and especially on finances. No, thank you.
For seasons now, Robyn has kept her distance from the money drama, carefully crafting the image of an emotional peacemaker. She rarely spoke up in budget talks, never challenged Cody over finances, and often stayed silent while the other wives voiced their concerns. But now, as the math stops making sense and the paper trail creeps closer to Cody's inner circle, fans are asking the question no one dared before. Was Robyn really unaware, or was she just playing the long game? Her critics say the pattern is impossible to ignore. When Christine left, the money dynamic shifted. When Janelle left, it cracked. And now that Mary's calling in legal help, the heat is rising fast. Robyn may have stayed quiet to dodge the fallout, but her silence is beginning to speak volumes. And if Janelle's audit exposes spending that links directly to Robyn's household, the consequences could be explosive. The moment that made even die-hard fans pause came in a confessional that hit like testimony. Janelle looked straight into the lens and said, "Cody would just take out funds, and I don't know what for." And then she added, "The money was just being spent, and lots of it." That line didn't just sting, it detonated, because lots of it doesn't sound like groceries or gas. It sounds like someone dipping into thousands with no questions asked.
Land isn't getting paid off, and if Cody can't come up with a paper trail if a wife were to ask for an accounting of where their money was going, I mean, that would all be Janelle's fault.
And that's exactly what Janelle's legal team is now digging into. What happened to all that money? That's the question at the heart of this audit. Cody insists everything was fair. "We all had access to the account," he claimed. But Janelle tells a different story. Not only was she kept out of the loop, she didn't even know where the money was going. And if things were so transparent, Why was Robyn the only one whose lifestyle seemed untouched while the family fell apart? Fans haven't forgotten. While the other wives downsized and tightened their budgets, Robyn's world looked untouched. New furniture, renovations, a level of comfort that didn't reflect the family's supposed financial strain. But this goes deeper than spending. It's about the silence. Janelle never signed off on those withdrawals, and more importantly, no one explained them. Not Cody, not the accountant, and certainly not Robyn. Now, with lawyers involved, every blank space on that ledger isn't just a question, it's a potential red flag. This audit isn't just about dollars. It's about exposing a system that may have been skewed to benefit the few, while the rest were told to wait their turn. Because if there's one wife who always followed the rules, it was Janelle. She did the work, filed the forms, and trusted Cody to play fair. But now that she's pulling back the curtain, it's becoming clear that trust may have been one of the first things taken, especially when one wife, Robyn, kept getting more, while everyone else was told to be patient.
Mary is genuinely surprised to learn that Janelle isn't controlling the purse strings. The fact that Mary was funneling money and not asking questions is shocking.
And if the audit confirms what fans have long suspected, that Robyn's household was shielded while the others bled dry, Janelle won't be the only one demanding answers. At the center of it all is one thing holding this unraveling family together: dirt, literally. Coyote Pass, the sprawling Arizona property that once symbolized the Browns' future, is now a legal powder keg. What started as a hopeful 2018 dream, each wife promised her own plot, has curdled into a battlefield of resentment, lawyers, and fractured promises. And with emotions high and attorneys circling, that land isn't just acreage anymore. It's leverage. It's the final thread binding Janelle, Mary, Cody, and Robyn together. And no one's letting go without a fight. Janelle says she paid for her portion out of the shared fund. So does Mary. Both assumed they had equal stakes. But here's where things splinter. Cody claims that's not true. He insists he personally paid for at least 92% of one lot, and the rest was communal. But if that's the case, why wasn't it all clear from the start? Why was Christine's name removed only after she handed her share back to Cody and Robyn? And why are Mary and Janelle only now realizing they should have pushed harder for legal clarity? For Janelle, this isn't just about land, it's about closure. It's her last tie to a man she no longer trusts, and a family system she no longer believes in. I thought it would all work out, she told the cameras. Looking back, I'm like, wow, that was dumb. Why didn't I insist we were all on every deed? That regret, it's now driving her legal game plan. Because without titles or contracts, everything boils down to memory, hearsay, and trust. And right now, trust is in short supply. Even Mary, once Cody and Robyn's quiet defender, is starting to question everything.
Like there's a bias, and I don't want to do that anymore.
All I can think is that it's somehow driven by his ego. In some regards, especially coming from the culture that we come from, he's a failure to have lost all his marriages.
Janelle says she's owed her share, and while Robyn claims she's always supported Mary, the truth is, no one knows where the lines are anymore. Who owns what, who paid what, and who may have quietly steered this chaos to their advantage. It's all tangled. Janelle's audit might uncover more than missing money. It could blow open the entire power play behind Coyote Pass. Robyn Brown used to be the one wife untouched by financial drama. While the others argued over bills and budgets, Robyn stayed quiet, teary-eyed, diplomatic, rarely questioned. Until now, because as Janelle's legal push digs deeper, Robyn's silence is starting to feel less like innocence and more like strategy. And as pressure builds, fans are waking up to a harsh possibility. Maybe staying out of it meant quietly reaping the benefits while the others shouldered the burden. Janelle's claims are serious, but it's the optics that sting. Robyn's home was bigger, her lifestyle more stable, and as the family fractured, she seemed to be the only wife not struggling. Christine was downsizing, Mary was downsizing, Janelle was living in an RV. Meanwhile, Robyn's household, thriving. Now that the family accounts are under the microscope and the money trail is being questioned, fans are asking what they've long wondered. Why did Robyn always land on top? And more importantly, what did she know? And when did she know it? Publicly, Robyn swears she's done nothing wrong. In a recent confessional, she got emotional. I always had Mary's back, even when others were plotting against her. But Mary isn't buying it anymore. She's now questioning if that bond ever really existed in the first place.
I do believe both Mary and Janelle also had a kickback that went to Robyn. So yes, Robyn's house was the first one to sell. What?
So, yes, Robyn's house was the first to sell. But when Mary asked, "Why tell me you want a relationship and then ghost me?" the message hit hard. The implication was clear. Robyn's loyalty may have had limits or conditions. And here's what's making fans uneasy. Robyn isn't defending herself with facts. She's relying on emotion. There's been no clear breakdown of whether her household got more financial support than the others. No straight answers about how Coyote Pass shares were divided, just vague statements and teary-eyed confessions. But in the court of public opinion, and maybe a real one soon, that's not going to be enough. If Janelle's audit reveals a pattern of money flowing toward Robyn's home, whether intentional or not, Robyn won't just have to explain her silence, she'll have to explain the math. And now that Mary's gearing up for her own legal battle, Robyn may be facing more than whispers. She could be facing consequences. For years, Mary Brown held the line. She defended Cody when others walked. She gave Robyn the benefit of the doubt, even when it hurt. But that chapter is over. No more cryptic posts or quiet frustration. Mary is lawyering up. And when Mary chooses to fight, it's because the damage has already cut too deep. It started quietly, an awkward pause about the Coyote Pass land, a sharp glance in a confessional. But now we know the truth. Behind the scenes, Mary was preparing for legal war. And in the newest trailer, her voice shakes with both anger and finality. There are a few things I'll fight for, and this is one of them. She's talking about her piece of land, but it's clear this isn't just about dirt. It's about dignity.
Janelle's in charge of the finances. I'm sorry. No wonder Mary and Janelle never got along. Christine chimes in terms of Cody being fair, not being fair when it comes to the money, and she shares with us. So good. She shares with us that Janelle told her, because Janelle had the books.
It's about dignity, about no longer being the afterthought. And finally waking up to the smoke and mirrors that kept her on the sidelines of real power for far too long. So, what changed? According to Mary, it was the heartbreaking realization that she'd been manipulated, financially, emotionally, and personally. She now believes Cody misled her about what she was truly owed. In a January episode, she recalled him telling her she didn't deserve an equal share of the land because they only had one child together. The message was impossible to miss. Fewer kids meant fewer rights. And Mary, who once might have accepted that logic, is done pretending it ever made sense. But it wasn't just Cody's words. It was Robyn's silence that hurt the most. For years, Mary believed they had something real. She defended Robyn when no one else would, took her side when things got tense. And now she's left wondering if Robyn ever saw her as anything more than convenient. "Why tell me you want a relationship?" Mary asked recently, "and then ghost me?" That silence, through property talks, money struggles, and emotional fallout left Mary with no choice but to protect herself. She's lawyered up. And now that both Janelle and Mary are demanding answers, the pressure is closing in fast. What started as one woman asking questions has turned into two women ready for battle. And if Robyn thought she could sit back and let Cody speak for them both, she's in for a rude awakening. Because if there's one place where truth should feel safe, it's those private confessionals. But lately, even that space feels like a battlefield. One by one, the Browns step in front of the camera, not to reflect, but to defend, accuse, and rewrite the narrative. Fans are calling it the confessional war. Janelle, steady but sharp. Mary, wounded but furious. Cody, smirking and defensive. And Robyn, all soft tears and emotional vagueness. It's no longer about healing, it's about rewriting history. Cody says he's not the villain. In one recent clip, he shrugs and mutters, "I'm not trying to rip you off, Mary." So offhand, so cold, it hits like a slap.
Wasn't getting anywhere near the amount of money that Robyn was receiving.
Cody doesn't seem all that interested in clearing things up, only in clearing himself of blame. He keeps repeating the same lines. Everyone had access to the account. It was just a misunderstanding. He insists his intentions were pure, but the issue isn't just what he's saying, it's what he isn't. There's still no breakdown of where the money went. No explanation for why Robyn's household remained untouched while everyone else struggled, and definitely no apology. Robyn, meanwhile, is leaning hard into emotion. Instead of numbers, she offers nostalgia, talking about loyalty, about standing by Mary, about wanting to keep the family together. But when it comes to the tough questions, who paid what, who decided what, who benefited, she sidesteps. And that silence, it's starting to speak volumes. Because even if Robyn didn't ask for more, the question remains, did she accept it once it started flowing her way? Janelle and Mary, though, are done playing nice. Janelle's tired of being painted as the one who held the checkbook, and therefore the blame. "If I controlled the money," she snapped, "we would have paid off Coyote Pass and built a house." The line hit hard, not just because it made sense, but because it shattered Cody's carefully curated version of events. Mary's pushing back, too. She won't be sidelined from financial decisions just because her marriage had long since run dry. This isn't just a family falling apart, it's a PR disaster unfolding in real time. Each person is now scrambling to get their version out first. But if this audit contradicts even one of those polished confessionals, someone's story is going to collapse. Behind the scenes, the stakes are rising fast. Janelle didn't lawyer up to make noise. She wants answers. And what her legal team is digging for might reshape the entire Brown family legacy. The core question sounds simple. Where did the money go? But what they're really chasing goes deeper. Because if that paper trail shows favoritism, misused funds, or quiet benefits to Robyn's household, this stops being reality TV and starts looking like legal exposure. Sources close to the family say Janelle's team is demanding full transparency, bank records, transaction logs, CPA reports, everything. And that could get uncomfortable fast, not just for Cody, who allegedly moved money around behind the scenes, but for Robyn, who may have unknowingly or knowingly benefited from it. If even one of those withdrawals was disguised as a group cost but only served her household, Janelle's lawyer could argue it was intentional misrepresentation. And this isn't just about proving what was spent, it's about setting legal precedent. Mary's not far behind, preparing her own claims tied to the family fund and her share of Coyote Pass. If both women can prove they were misled or excluded from decisions, that opens the door to compensation, asset division, even civil action. This is no longer about bruised egos. It's potential courtroom fallout that could haunt Cody and Robyn for years. And here's where it gets even messier. Cody's still clinging to the line that Janelle, as bookkeeper, should have known it all. But Janelle is firm. She wasn't given power, only a task. She logged what he decided. And that distinction, it matters. Because if she was kept in the dark, it strengthens the case that Cody abused a position of trust. And if Robyn's household thrived during that time, even if she never held the checkbook, she could still be held accountable, both in the court of public opinion and maybe in a court of law. This audit isn't just paperwork, it's a powder keg. And the deeper her legal team digs, the more likely it is to blow open secrets no one ever thought would surface. Janelle always hoped she could walk away peacefully. She said as much. All she wanted was to close the chapter. But now, with legal documents filed, audits launched, and silence giving way to subpoenas, it's clear this story isn't ending quietly. It's just getting started. And at the center of it all, one truth that's as heartbreaking as it is explosive. Janelle trusted Cody. She trusted the system they built. She trusted that Robyn would never let things get so lopsided. But now that the emotional fog is lifting, that trust is turning into something else. Determination.
That.
For
Janelle's in
years,
charge of the
Janelle
finances.
stayed
I'm
steady.
sorry.
She
No wonder
kept the
Mary and
books.
Janelle never got
She
along.
played by the
Steen
rules.
chimes
But the
in
moment Cody
terms of
dismissed
Cody
her
being
concerns
fair,
with a
not
flippant,
being fair when it
"I'm
comes
not
to the
your
money.
servant to
And
boss
she
around,"
shares with us.
something broke.
So good.
She
She
realized she
shares
was
with
never
us
treated
that
as an equal,
Janelle told
just the one
her
who did the
because
work
Janelle
while
had the
others
books.
made
It's
the
about
decisions. Now she's reclaiming her voice, not through tense family talks or cryptic posts, but through legal firepower. And Robyn? For so long, she stayed on the sidelines, soft-spoken, emotionally distant, hands clean. But this audit is pulling back the curtain, and the longer she avoids the hard questions about money, about land, about loyalty, the more her quiet becomes suspicious. Because right now, Robyn isn't offering clarity, she's offering tears. Janelle, Mary, and Christine may be living separate lives now, but their shared experience of financial fog, emotional gaslighting, and disappearing dollars ties them together in a way no one saw coming. And with two of the three now going legal, the pressure on Cody and Robyn is boiling. So what if the audit uncovers more than bad bookkeeping? What if it confirms the one thing fans have feared all along? That this plural marriage was never equal, that Robyn always came out ahead. Could she face consequences? Will Cody finally have to explain every dollar to the lawyers, to the wives, and to the fans who've watched this house of cards fall, one episode at a time? Let us know what you think. Is Janelle finally getting the justice she deserves? Or are we just scratching the surface of something far bigger? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Give this video a like if you followed the Sister Wives saga from the start. And hit subscribe because the next chapter is coming. And trust me, you won't want to miss it.